Hi, this is our final grammar unit for the semester. We're going to talk about pronouns and pronoun antecedent agreement to make sure that our pronouns match our antecedents. So a pronoun is a word that replaces a noun or a pronoun. So Tracy gave me her number. Her is a pronoun replacing Tracy. The word that the pronoun replaces is called the antecedent, right? So Tracy is the antecedent, her is the pronoun. The pronoun has to agree with the antecedent in number. Both either have to be singular or both have to be plural. So the Trans sold their house. Trans is the antecedent, it is plural, so we pick the plural pronoun there. So it also has to match gender. And we're using kind of the traditional stereotypical gender here with our pronouns for this assignment. Okay. So Mike likes his coffee hot. Mike is singular and Mike is a male. So it would be his. Now brush off the cobwebs for those indefinite pronouns, which are singular, which are plural, which can be both, because you have to know that as well here so that you match that correctly. Okay. Collective nouns like audience, class, group, government, jury are often singular. So if they're acting as one unit, they're singular. Okay. You want to make sure that your pronoun antecedent is clear. Manuel told Robert that he had to work. Well, who had to work? Did Manuel say that Manuel had to work, or did Manuel tell Robert that Robert had to work? It's unclear. So make sure that there's a clear connection between pronoun and antecedent. And the pronoun replaces the noun in the sentence. It doesn't repeat it, it replaces it. The letter carrier, he came at noon. That's not correct. It's not replacing the letter carrier, it's repeating it. So we know we have subject pronouns, we have object pronouns, and we have possessive pronouns. Subject pronouns are used as the subject of a sentence. Objects receive the action of the verb, or it's part of a prepositional phrase. And then possessive pronouns show ownership. Here's our chart. Here's our pronouns. For subject pronouns, I, you, he, she, it, we, you, they. Object pronouns, me, you, him, her, it, us, you, them. Possessive pronouns, my or mine, you or yours, his, hers. Ours, yours, and theirs. That's first, second, and third person, singular and plural. You might want to create 3 charts for those so that you can use them as reference. Okay. So you want to make sure you have singular general nouns. Like any student can tell you what. It's not there because a student is singular. So any student can tell you what his or her least favorite food is. Student is singular. The pronoun has to match the antecedent. Student, his or her. Okay. Make sure that you know the indefinite pronoun and whether it's singular or plural. Okay. The monks got up at dawn. Everybody had his chores for the day. Everybody is singular. His is the choice because monks are male. Okay. We want to check for pronoun agreement and watch those collective nouns. Okay. If the people in the group are acting as individuals, the noun is plural. If they're acting as a single unit, it is singular. So the class brought their papers to read. That means every person in the class had an individual paper. But if the whole class was writing one paper, it would be the class brought its paper to read. Okay, so make sure you know the collective nouns. Okay. We picked from our subject pronoun chart when it's the subject. We pick the object pronoun when it receives the action of a verb or a prep phrase, and then possessive pronouns show ownership. Okay. So when we have compound pronouns and compound subjects and compound objects, okay, there's a rule you just have to know. If the subject is joined by and or, it's plural. Chandler and I worked on our homework. Okay, they're being used as the subject of the sentence, so we want to pick the subject pronouns I. My boss gave the assignment to Chandler and me. To Chandler and me is part of a preposition phrase, so we have to pick from our object pronoun chart. I is not an object pronoun. Me is an object pronoun. Okay? So when you have compound subjects like Joan and I or me, just get rid of the other part of the compound. So I or me went to the movies last night. Oh, well, it would be I because I is the subject pronoun. Okay? So when you have a plural pronoun, you should use a plural pronoun with a compound antecedent joined by and. Mary and Bill, plural, so we pick they. If it's joined by or nor, it's plural. Ben or Tom, sorry. If it's joined by or nor, and they're both singular, Ben or Tom, we're going to use the singular pronoun, his. If plurals are joined by or nor, either the juniors or the seniors, we use the plural antecedent, their class song. Okay. So if two singulars, you use the singular pronoun. If it's two plurals joined by or nor, then you use the plural pronoun. If it's a singular and a plural, like the boy or his parents, you use the pronoun that agrees with the nearer antecedent. So in the first sentence, the boy or his parents will present their idea. Their is plural, so is parents. But if we switched the antecedent, the parents or the boy, now the boy is closer to the pronoun, so we use his. Okay. This is probably the most tricky part when we're using comparisons. The thing that will help you figure out whether it's singular or plural is to mentally fill in the rest of that comparison. So in the first one, Kenzie trusts Kirby more than blank trust Kirby. And it would be I trust Kirby. So the sentence would read, Kenzie trusts Kirby more than I. We don't speak that way, we don't talk that way, but it's grammatically correct. Let's look at the second example and fill in that intended comparison. Kirby trusts Kenzie more than Kirby trusts me. We would pick me, so the sentence would read, Kirby trusts Kenzie more than me. The implied meaning there is Kirby trusts Kenzie more than Kirby trusts me. Just like the implied meaning in the first one is Kenzie trusts Kirby more than I trust Kirby. So to decide whether to use a subject or an object pronoun, you want to mentally fill in those implied words. The registrar is much more efficient than Is it we are or us are? It would be we. So the sentence would read, the registrar is much more efficient than we. We don't speak that way, but it is grammatically correct. Alden rides his bike more than he rides his bike or him rides his bike. It's he. So Alden rides his bike more than he. So don't go by your ear, go by what the comparison is suggesting. Who, when you're trying to decide who or who is a subject pronoun, whom is an object one. An easy way to figure it out is to say, okay, is the pronoun performing an action? Then we use whom. If the pronoun doesn't perform an action, use whom with an M. So I would like to know who delivered the package. Who delivered. Delivered is a verb. He told me to whom I should report. Not receiving an action, not performing an action, so it's whom. As long as the sentence is not a question, you just look for the word that follows it. If the who or whom is followed by a verb, use who. If the who or whom is followed by a noun or a pronoun, use whom. The cellist who played, we pick who because it's followed by played. The cellist whom we pick whom because it's followed by I. Okay? So you want to be careful when you're using pronouns with more than one subject or object, when you're using pronouns in comparisons, and when you're using pronouns in who or whom. Make sure you know those rules. I'm going to post this PowerPoint in the grammar folder. You can click through it, review it, and then I have a bunch of practice at the end. Click through like a PowerPoint and see what you get correct. Please also refer to your textbook here. Read the textbook section on pronoun antecedent agreement. You do not have to do any of the My Skills Lab. That will be next week. Just make sure that you understand the information. All right, have a great day. I will talk to you soon.